Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you guys, I don't know why I just said that so weird. Today I have for you guys a how to read more classics recommendation tips and tricks video. I'm doing this from the mindset of an English major, and I want to preface this video by saying if you don't want to read classics, you don't have to, you know? I mean, they're written hundreds of years ago, most of them, by some old white men, and I completely understand if you don't want to read them. You shouldn't have to feel like you have to read them to be validated in your reading expertise or your reading experience, and you don't even have to be a part of a conversation around them if you don't want to be. However, as an English major and as someone who I just love reading, and for me personally, I'm nosy and I just want to understand why they're classics. So I like reading them the majority of the time. So let's just get into some suggestions. One suggestion is use SparkNotes. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I use SparkNotes. I don't use it to cheat. Don't rely only upon it. I always read my books and my reading assignments. What I mean by this is, especially if you're reading for class, what I like to do, this kind of goes with another tip and trick to read or to take notes or to annotate, especially for class. But what I like to do for class, not for fun, is after every chapter, or usually you don't read chapter by chapter. I read, like they give us like 90 pages. And so after I read the reading section for that particular day, I take notes, I annotate, I use tabs, and then I go back from the beginning with a little spiral notebook and I take notes each by chapter. And at the end of my notes, I pull up SparkNotes if there is a SparkNotes or other supplementary website materials type thing, and I make sure I get all the points that they deem relevant, because sometimes you miss things and sometimes you don't think things are important, so you need some help. It keeps you on track, it clarifies some things. I'm not gonna lie, when I've read a couple of classics for fun, like for leisure activity in the past, I've used SparkNotes after a couple of chapters because I didn't know what was going on. And I think that's okay to admit that you don't understand the language and you don't really know what's going on, because it's confusing. It's confusing. So there's kind of more class related, like academia related classics. Third one is probably the most important, in my opinion. Find an author and or genre and or era that you like. If you've read a few in high school for class, or even if you didn't read them and it sounded interesting, start there. And if you really like an author or an era or genre, you can kind of Google or just make some estimated guesses about other classics in that area. I read Frankenstein in high school and I really liked Frankenstein. So I like Gothic literature, so I've read some more Gothic classics like Wuthering Heights I really liked, and I really liked Rebecca. And I read, what is that called? Dorian Gray. Didn't really like it, but I read it. So, that kind of thing. I'm trying to remember, well, I like romance, so I've read Jane Austen. And I like Jane Austen, so I read the Bronte sisters and Jane Eyre. And Little Women is very Jane Austen-esque, and North and South is very Jane Austen-esque. And because I like Jane Austen, that's kind of, if I'm remembering right, I've only read her for fun, so not for class. I think it's mid to late 19th century England. So like right now I'm in a Charles Dickens class. I didn't really like Charles Dickens the first time I read him, but now I really enjoyed David Copperfield. So, you know, if you find one strand, you can kind of run with that. Find your thing. I would also kind of recommend maybe starting with some modern classics just to kind of guide you along. Most modern classics are kind of more American modern classics, so like The Great Gatsby, Hemingway. I don't personally like Hemingway, but if that's your thing, you do you. Toni Morrison, great. James Baldwin, I've never read him, but everybody loves him, and I want to read him. Catcher in the Rye, hated it. You might like it, I don't know. So like things like that. And going along with that, you know, all it takes is one Google search, and there are so many lists and like categorizations that you can find to kind of guide you. And if you want to complete a 50 books, 50 classics you need to read in your lifetime list, and that be it, then that's good. That's great. I also want to emphasize there are very different definitions of classics, you know, very different definitions. So, you know, don't put yourself in a box, if you will. Explore things. And even if you find one author, read their entire like thing they've got going on, and maybe Google some other similar authors if you catch my drift. Another tip, audiobooks. Audiobooks are your friend, and you don't have to buy them, okay? Best thing about widely read classics is, for the most part, there's some semi-decent free audiobooks on YouTube, okay? And you can pick the speed and listen to it. You can read along with it. I don't personally like reading along with audiobooks. I either have to read it with silence or listen to the audiobook while I do something completely different, like crocheting. But it's really helped. I listened to an audiobook with Anna Karenina because I couldn't read it all the way through. So I listened to it, and it was fine. I listened to Dracula because I was having a hard time reading it, and the audiobook was great, and it was free, and you know, it really enhanced my reading experience. And now I know the story of Dracula, and I've read, what's the other one? Anna Karenina. Don't force yourself, you know, just enjoy it. And if you're reading it and you know you've tried an audiobook, you've tried everything, and you still can't read it and it's painful, just don't read it, honey. You know, just close it and move on. As saying that, you know, I'm the type of person, if I've started, I pretty much have to finish it. So I've suffered through some pretty terrible reading experiences trying to finish a book. Also, I can't condone that if you're reading for a class, especially in college. But I understand things happen, so no pressure. Have fun. Be kind to yourself. I would also say, going into it, you need to understand that the rantiness isn't going away. It's there. Some authors rant more than others, and you just skim it. Just kind of tune it out and just, okay, we're on to the next exciting part. Because even good classics get ranty. Even Jane Austen gets ranty sometimes, and I'm like, I do not care. Also, if you're reading a translated book like the Odyssey or Dante's Inferno or something like that, look at different translations. Research the best one for you, because some of these out there are either outdated or they're specifically for like graduate student level reading or specifically for academia, and it's like, you know, you don't need to put yourself through that if you just want to read it for fun. I'm trying to think of what else to tell you guys. I don't know. It's interesting how I've read classics. Usually I like British classics more than American classics. The one exception would be Lord of the Flies. I really enjoyed Lord of the Flies. I enjoyed the Odyssey. I've enjoyed Jane Austen and Jane Eyre and Little Women Women was okay. I really liked David Copperfield for some unknown reason. I really liked Beowulf. I really like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. You never know what is going to strike you. And I've really hated other classics. Like, I did not like Dorian Gray. I hate The Scarlet Letter. I hate some Shakespeare plays. What else haven't I liked? I don't know. There's a lot that I don't like. But once you find your niche, it's very easy to find other similar categories or books or authors. And then once you get, into the groove of things, it's easier. It gets easier. So, I don't know. Did that help anybody? Has that helped you? Take some literature classes if you can. They're fun. I think they're fun. Maybe not in high school, but in college, I've loved all my literature classes for the most part. And I love reading. And so it's like, it is what it is. It's great. I don't know. Did this help anyone? I'm not sure. I'm going to do a how I annotate. And there's going to be like a section in that video for school annotations. So if you're interested, look out for that. And we can kind of talk a bit more about how I annotate for English and or history classes. So yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. I don't even know how long this is. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Like, subscribe, maybe possibly. Peace out. Goodbye in the video.